the actual size of the silver molecule is important. I touched on this a little while ago. The smaller, the stronger the ionic charge and the more effective it is clinically. And its concentration. So we've got the size of the silver, and then we have the amount of the silver that's put into the water as a colloid, or in this case, a hydrosol, right? So there's the size, and then there's how many of the molecules of silver are actually in there. These two things are important in order to demonstrate clinical effectiveness. And as with everything, I say this, if I've said this once, I've said it a million times. Not all nutritional supplements are created equally. They are not. There's a great deal of difference in the recipes and the manufacturing procedures. And so it is with colloidal silver. Here is an example. Now, on the side of the picture closest to me is a picture of an electron microscope, which is magnified, in this case, 100,000 times. 100,000 times of Argentin 23. Next to it is one of their competitors. I can't mention the name of the competitor for legal reasons, but you see that big glob of black stuff? See that? Those are silver particles which have been clumped together. And when the particles get all clumpy like that, they lose their ionic charge. And they also are really quite big on a relative scale of things. And this precludes their or negates their effectiveness clinically. Now you can see this was a laboratory analysis done with the flame absorption spectroscopy. They claimed, the competitor of Argentin 23 claimed to be 200 parts per million. They actually were 71. The conductivity of 46.9, which is a bad thing. And the Argentin 23 claimed 23 parts per million. They actually had 23.13 parts per million. And their conductivity was 19, which is a very good thing. So, objective laboratory data here, which proves that at least in this case, Argentin 23 was superior to its competitor. They did it again. You can see this one claimed 30 parts per million, but it actually had 34.2 parts per million. And the conductivity was 892, which is basically means it's crap. And you can see here, the particles, even though they're similar in size to the Argentin 23, 34 parts per million as opposed to 23 parts per million, but they had clumped together. And usually when this happens, it's because of impurities that are in the water. Impurities cause cross-linking at the end of the silver molecules, and they start to stick together like, like magnets. And then more and 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 more stick together, and then they all clump together, and then you're SOL. So, again, you can see that with the Argentin 23, there's none of that nonsense is happening at all. Again, this is where the rubber hits the road, right? I told you, and it's the truth, that this product is the most effective colloidal silver I've ever seen. And there's a reason for it, which we can discover through the scientific method.